evening. This is Occupier Kaylin coming to you live from the Des Moines Public Library, City Des Moines public meeting on bike safety. And this is about to get started. They just did a mic check. I could barely hear it above all the people talking, so they're going to tweak it a little. This is about the city council not budgeting any money for even one single person to handle safety issues for cyclists and pedestrians. And there are representatives of several city departments, police, fire, even civil rights, the public library, which is the host venue for this meeting, and the Des Moines Bike Club, or Bike Collective. And the City Parks and Recreation Department. I don't know how long this is going to go on, but I'll stay here until it ends. And maybe capture some conversation after. There are 3 of these screens here so that people in all areas of the room can see it when they do projections. That's why they're pulled down and the projectors are turned on. They're ready to go with the slides. People are gathering here. So it's a bit noisy at the moment. I'm hoping that all of the city council members will be here, as well as the mayor and the city manager. I definitely would like to see the 1% wannabe Chris Hensley here. She is a thorn in the side to many people in the city, not just in her ward. I'm glad I don't live in her ward because who knows what I could have said to her face. People are starting to take their seats. It's getting a little quieter. I hope this room is full. I'm hoping to see a whole lot of bikes out here, but I think people drove from wherever they live instead of riding their bikes. Again, this is Occupier Kaylin coming to you live from the Des Moines Public Library. This is a public meeting on cyclists and pedestrian safety in the city. The City Council has not budgeted a single dollar for a safety official for overseeing and handling issues related to cyclist and pedestrian safety in this city regarding bike lanes on the streets, bike paths, maybe enforcement of existing laws, maybe getting new ordinances up before the city council, things of that nature. I think we're about to get this thing started. I wanted to live stream this in case no other media covered it, and I want to leave it raw. I want to document these things that are going on here in the city, and this is something I just saw earlier this afternoon. I'm going to go down there. I do see a couple of cameras behind me. Back there. I don't know if they are local media or just cameras owned by a specific group or what, but I decided to stream it and bring it to you live. And I'm also doing this for those locals who are not able to attend so that they can know what's going on. And I posted it on the Bike Collective page on Facebook. And when I went live, Ustream posted to both Facebook and Twitter that I am live. Looks like we have a cross-section of good mix of people here. Maybe not the best representation of the population in the city, but I do hope that this room is completely filled.
A little bit. You showed them on the day. Did you jump on
Yeah. Monday, when I went over to the courthouse to live stream the protest that was there, I didn't even wear a jacket. I was going to ride over here, but then my dang lock decided to act up on me. Yeah, it froze. I got the key in, but it wouldn't turn. Then I ended up busting a dang key in it. Yeah, I'll have to do that sometime. One of the organizers here just said that after the speeches or presentations, then people will be invited to just go to the different tables that are around here at that end and over there to talk to the representatives of those departments. And for those who are restreaming this channel, I want to thank you for doing that. I want to thank the viewers for coming on and watching this. Yes, it is about bike safety and pedestrian safety. So it's a two-in-one thing. Your mic's not on. Might need to give a yell to the sound person.
Not very well. We turn it up just a little bit there.
Once it gets
I
quiet.
guess we'll ask everybody that can to take a seat.
Yeah, lots of seats up front.
And as we're, there are a lot of seats up front. It's sort of like the classroom, you know, all the students sitting in front, and we're the students when everybody moves. Well, I want to thank everybody for coming this evening to our annual,
This is Mayor Frank
which is
Callen.
now an annual discussion about the city of Des Moines' budget. Last year, we passed a 2-year budget, and we've done that for a number of years now. But with our new city manager, I think he's agreed that even though we pass a 2-year budget, we want to rediscuss that every year, because every year there's changes. Sometimes situations get better, sometimes they change. We're always looking at a variety of different things that happen. And we want to get input from the neighbors, from our neighborhood associations, and from businesses, anybody that wonders what's going on in the city of Des Moines, what can improve our quality of life, what is it going to improve our public safety, how is it that we're going to do it, and by the way, how are we going to finance it? Certainly that deserves a broad discussion, and so the turnouts we appreciate, and for people to come in here and tell us what they're feeling, what they're thinking, what's working, what's not, really is helpful to all of our departments. And so I just want to make a couple of comments quickly about, and notice, by the way, our city council members, Bob Mahaffey's here, Chris Coleman's standing in the back, Skip Moore is here, Christine Hensley's here, and I don't know if any of our other council members, I didn't see them come in, but at any rate, I know that everybody has been hoping and waiting to hear the input that we get here this evening. I also want to say that I understand that there's been some discussion in the general news about our budget and what our budget looks like. We continue to plan every single year based upon what we know, what the facts are, and as of this time, the discussion has been around what is it that the city can do to cover what we projected to be about a $400,000+ shortfall for this year, keeping the tax rate the same. There was a discussion, I understand, that said it was $5 million. Well, I think that may have included the property tax backfill that was approved on a bipartisan basis by the Iowa legislature, not only for the city of Des Moines, but all cities across the state, to look at that issue and try to make sure cities are made whole. It was the Senate, it was the Iowa House, it was the governor, it was Republicans, it was Democrats that all agreed that that's what ought to happen to improve what they thought at the time to be an improvement in the property tax structure across the state of Iowa. So we are confident that that is going to maintain in place, and that they're going to make good on that, and so therefore that $4.5 million backfill that we are expecting, and other cities around the state are expecting, and voters and citizens are expecting, is going to continue to stay in place. So I just want to make sure everybody understands that we're not talking about a $5 million shortfall. We're talking about at this moment $400,000, and our city manager and budget finance people have worked very hard, and our departments have all looked at opportunities, and I know that in the face of all of that, we want to make sure that the quality of service, as best we can do it, is not impacted by any of the suggestions that are made. Now, our city manager has come up with some very great ideas on how we can have sort of an interdepartment discussion amongst all of our departments, and how we can best share services and rethink how city government operates. And I think that he has created a number of ways that I believe that rather small and inside of a $500–600 million overall budget, we can hopefully solve that shortfall that we had expected for this year, last year when we passed this budget, without raising the property taxes. So again, thank you all for coming. All of our departments are here to listen, number one. Number two, take any thoughts, any input that you have. And I'm going to quickly now thank everybody again, our city council members, our city staff, neighbors, neighborhood leaders, business people that chose to come here tonight and give us your thoughts. And I'm going to turn over to our city manager, Scott Sanders, who will kind of go over how we're going to handle this tonight, and maybe a couple of comments, Scott, would be appropriate. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Thank you. I want to thank the council as well to come out, and then obviously the public. Your interactions in these settings and others are very helpful to us as we design a budget plan and the level of services that we need to be providing to our citizens. So this is a critical opportunity for us to hear from the public. So again, I want to thank you for coming out as well. I want to make sure that, as the mayor mentioned, the task really that we have in front of us right now is a $400,000 budget gap for the budget year that starts next July. So we're only in the middle of the process at this point. No final decisions have been made at all. We've got about 3 more months, in fact, to finalize our budget for the next fiscal year. That'll happen at the end of February. So you will hear more conversations from us. You'll be invited again to come to some of our workshops if you like to hear different pieces of our budget discussions. So again, I appreciate your interactions. So yes, we have a $400,000 issue in front of us for this next year. But I think, again, some of the confusion was we like to look out further. We like to be long-term planning if we can. And one of the concerns is that with the new property tax reforms, we are now going to become dependent, if you will, on about $5 million annual payment from the state as part of our budget. With that in place, we continue to get the assurances from the state that those funds will be available to us, not only next year, but into the future. So with that said, we have a plan in front of us at this point, tentatively to look at. Obviously, it does include some budget cuts and some revenue changes, but I'm going to leave that up to Dan Ritter, our finance director, to explain to you on how those will work out. Dan?
Okay, thank you, Mr. City Manager. I don't know how many have been to one of our town hall forums before. Okay, so quite a few of you. Just to kind of go over what we plan to do tonight, we have a presentation, PowerPoint presentation that will discuss fiscal year 2016, the budget gap of $400,000 and what we've done to close that gap. And then after, and that will probably be about 10-15 minutes, and after that, the next part is when we have the community conversations. We always get real positive feedback about that, and that's your chance to go to the departments here, and the staff, all the staff and departments and directors are here tonight, and you can go ahead and ask any questions you might have, talk about your ideas, concerns, and that'll probably take us through to typically it's been about 7 o'clock would be the time. And if there's interest to come together again for a wrap-up or any final comments,
It just says, welcome, Mayor Front County.
Just to get us started, when you came in, you should have received a sheet of paper that looked like this. It had some questions on it. I don't know if you did or not. If not,
I have one of those, but I'm
quickly.
actually sitting on it.
I'm sorry to say there's no iPad presence. If you have the correct answers, we just want to get a little bit of an idea of your perceptions of the city and how well we communicate.
How many city
So the
parks
first one,
are there? That's what that says
really,
to the left of the
how many
picture.
city parks are there in the city of Des Moines? I'm just curious, does anybody want to take a guess on what that would be? That some of you may have seen the board back there, the parks directors cannot take the guess, but does anybody have an idea on that at all? I was asking a resident of the city just last week this question, and their guess was 26, so I'll give you the answer. It's actually 76.
Some of these are very small.
So also I want to point out there's 52 miles of paved trails, 15 miles of nature trails.
I live across from one in the city parks called
Again,
Brook
at the end of
Park.
this presentation, the Parks Department and staff.
And down the river, there's a nature trail
The next question was
area
how
along
many
the river.
structural fires did the fire department respond to?
We know about the big ones.
Answer would be 297.
297 fires the city fire department responded to in one form or another.
How many police calls for service in 1 year?
That encompasses all types of police calls, reports of accidents, reports of crime. 186,821 total police calls. That's for a city of 250,000.
Questions or ideas you want to talk to? How many lane miles of snow are plowed during each snowstorm? Very tough one. The answer is 2,207.
That's city
Public Works
streets,
in the last few years has
freeway.
undertaken a number of measures changing how the operation works.
Iowa Department of Transportation will
Actually
take care of the
improve
highway plowing.
And if you are interested in that, Public Works Director and staff will be at that table with the wood, I don't know, it's a piece of wood or something like that. Firewood.
Said firewood.
What's the newest library branch still open? Franklin? That would be the
Virtual library is a completely online resource.
Where that is or how to enter that. The library and the director and staff will set it right over there. And of course, too, we appreciate the invite to come here for this meeting tonight, too. I want to say thank you for that. The next question is how much of your tax dollar goes to the city? So when you pay your property taxes every year, out of each dollar, how much do you think goes to the city in the morning?
Not much.
How many think less than 50 cents of each dollar?
2 cents?
A few think less than 50 cents. Talking about the property tax payments, yes. For each dollar that you pay in property tax, how much goes to the city?
My property tax is around $1,250 a year.
I don't have that one here today, but it's 36 cents on each dollar. The rest is going to the public schools, Polk County, and other entities.
There's a
So this
chart
is a
that
chart
divides all
for
that.
tax dollars. What it represents.
Unfortunately, I can't
is
get closer,
on
so I
a
don't.
median
I can't
value property
zoom in on this because Ustream does not have that capability
The
to
average
zoom in,
tax
unlike
is
Bamboozle.
877 total. And this is where it would be allocated to. This allocation includes both the operations as well as the capital projects. For example, in parks it would be for splash pads, playgrounds, and fire apparatus and the fire department. So it just kind of shows you, you probably would expect this. This is the core services, and this is actually where the dollars go to support it. Okay, so tonight, just to be clear, again,
Fiscal
we're
year
talking, this is
2015.
kind of a diagram of boxes of showing the total Des Moines budget. And what we're focusing on tonight is the one that you can see highlighted in a different color. It's the general
It's-
operating budget.
That'd be red.
It is the core services, police, fire, parks, library, public works, engineering, and there are other parts of the budget that we won't go into tonight. We will have workshops in the future with the council. You'll see more information on them, but just to set it apart, The general operating budget is really where all the tax receipts go. And you can see, we talked about the taxes going into this fund, and about 50% of your general operating budget is funded from taxes. Other major portions come from road use tax allocation, charges for fees and services, which is when you go to the swimming pool, or ambulance services, and so on, as well as hotel motel tax and other revenue sources. The expenditure then of the general operating budget, you can see about 54% of it is for public safety, fire and police, and then other major portions for public works, parks, libraries. So when we started
Financing the current service
early November,
level
this
budget.
was the projection that was presented at a council workshop, and we had 179 million in revenue, about 180 in expenses, and so we had a deficit of $400,000 to address. The city manager indicated at that time that he'd be working with all the departments to review the different options to come up with a recommended budget savings plan to provide further closing that gap. In that, as he reviewed with the departments, a couple things, we do have guiding principles that take us through the budget process, and a couple that I want to just point out is one is to minimize service impacts to citizens, and these recommendations do that. Everything that's being proposed will have a minimum impact compared to the current service level budget you now see. The other thing is these are sustainable actions. That means they will go on and also help our budgets for fiscal years 17, 18, and beyond. And finally, you can see on here also too, one of our guiding principles is to engage the public in the budget process. And that's part of the reason for this meeting here tonight. So these were the proposed budget actions that were presented. And as far as the budget reductions, there was 4 positions that had been identified to be eliminated from the budget. Most of those will probably be a vacant position, we can say. And that's going to save $210,000
A vacant
in
position
the budget.
that was left unvacant and then closed, so it will not be
Other side
filled.
of the ledger, there's some revenue enhancements that we've enacted. The first area is
Taxes.
electronic vendor payments. It's just the way we work with a third-party vendor to provide payments to the vendors that provide services to the city. And what will happen is there will be a system that's set up that's much more convenient for vendors, provides savings to them, and the city will share a portion of that savings. The next one is the increased permit and inspection fees. There's probably quite a list of different fees for the types of services that are available and provided. And some of those fees have not been changed since our last fee study, which was several years ago. Those will be updated, so we have an attempt to provide for the receiver of the service to pay a fair share of the service they're getting. The next one is the Des Moines Waterworks Healthcare Administration. The city will administer the health insurance on behalf of the Des Moines Waterworks. That's just one of the ways we have several areas where we work with Des Moines Waterworks, the schools, the other metro area communities, as we try to figure out different ways that we can share administration or share the implementation of our field work, so we all end up with a win-win situation on that. And then the last item on here is review the ambulance fees. Again, it's looking at what the metro area is charging for the ambulance services, as well as what insurance reimbursements are in the current period, and then we will come up with an appropriate fee for service on that. So those total together $475,000 in savings or additional revenue into the budget. So as you can see here, we talked about the $405,000 gap. So with the reductions in revenue enhancements, that leaves us with a net positive of $70,000. Beyond that, the city manager is also planning on implementing a number of actions that will enhance our efficiencies and provide for at least reduced or stable expenses in the future to positively impact the future budgets. The first one you see up here is facility maintenance operations, which is now under one department, but it's really an operation that provides services to the entire city. And so this is an opportunity to move it under the city
Business
management.
practice changes.
And it doesn't really fit exactly where the department it's in now as far as the mission. So this will allow the operation to be in an area where it can be actually fit better and allow the department to actually have their better organizational structure to deal with the operations. The next one is centralized IT and fleet operations. We have undertaken some of the centralization also in those different areas, but this kind of continues and expands it to some that we have not. So there are police and fire IT professionals, and we also have an IT department. And this plan is to move those under the same management to better, again, coordinate the resources, make sure the entire organizational goal is achieved, better improve communications. So we expect that to happen with that, as well as the fleet operations. There's fire mechanics, as well as the city has a central fleet operations that provides fleet maintenance to the entire organization, all the different departments. And this, again, would be to better manage the resources under one management, and employ them where there's more need for it in situations, and also just to share facilities and share the other support services for it. Public-private partnerships, there's a couple listed up here. One is the animal control function.
Code
Right
speak
now,
for
the city is
privatization.
awarding contracts with the Animal Rescue League for the operations. There's other around us, the metro area communities, West Des Moines, Urbandale, they have their systems. This would be a chance for us to work with them to see both in contracting or in building a facility for the future. If we can do that together, again, be a lot more efficient than if we each had our own facilities and our own contracts, or if we have different areas where it's kind of confusing to people, they don't know who to call. This kind of helps improve the situation for both the public as well as save us costs. The other thing you see mentioned on here is the downtown maintenance. Right now there's a contracted in, private contractors. You see downtown Des Moines, they have Operation Downtown Jackets on. They're responsible for some of the maintenance, as well as our Park and Recreation Department provides maintenance activities downtown. So we have had an agreement with them in the past. There's been a lot of growth and changes in downtown. So we're going to work again in the future to try to decide who is responsible for what, how can we work together to coordinate the activities, reduce our costs, but still continue to support a growing and vibrant downtown. Some other business practices that are under consideration, leisure program and marketing. They're functions that both the Parks and Recreation and Library do now. So it's really just stepping back and looking to see how we can partner together, whether it's sharing resources, buildings. It's just going to take a look back to see what are the different opportunities that might be out there given the technology changes, given all the kinds of changes you see in the systems around us daily. Housing services and human rights. Again, we're looking at options on working with either non-profit entities, or in the case of human rights, the state does some investigative services, the city does some. So it's really just the best way to streamline that and review these structures to see if we can work more efficient and more effective. So there's been some initial discussion on the city backfill. You heard that. It's now, of course, going to be part of our budget. And hopefully we expect that to continue. There's been some, the concern has been, in the past, there's been some property tax restrictions, caps, eliminations of revenues that the city used to get. Some of those were funded in a short period of time by the state, and some of that discontinued after a while. The other things that might impact the budget for fiscal year 16, as well as future budgets, still is collective bargaining agreements. Those are now an ongoing process. Those probably should be resolved in the next few months. We have final valuations in January. That's for the property assessments for the city. There are still cases where people may be appealing assessments or they're going to court. Final valuations come in January, then we finally know what the total valuation is for the city. And then next legislative session, the state typically, well, you're aware there's a lot of issues that come before the state. Some of them impact the cities of the state, so we'll keep monitoring that to see what changes, requirements, restrictions that we face in the year ahead. Maintaining services at low cost. Just want to let everybody know that we've undergone a lot of reviews of privatization options, partnerships, collaborative agreements, and we continue to do that. We try to be proactive in that.
And paying people lower the
We
wages.
don't wait for the situation to come where we're at a bad position. And so this is an ongoing item, and just want to reassure you that is always happening with the city. And we've gone through a lot of challenging budgets, but just as a reminder, I'm not sure if we have some listed up here, the city continues to receive numerous awards, ranking us in the very top, or at least in the top 10 of a lot of categories that indicate the city is just a great place to live, a great place to have a family, a great place for a business. So that's impressive. Of course, it's the result of the leadership of our elected officials, as well as the hard work done by all the citizens and the businesses in the city, working together to achieve all we can do. And then this is I guess the timeline of conversations ahead for us. If you recall the chart of the total city budget, we will still be in January discussing our sewer and other enterprise funds, as well as our capital project improvement program. And we'll also, at those workshops that are, you can see in here, we have the next workshops are January 12th and 26th, February 9th and 23rd. They start at 7:30 in the Monday mornings. We also there will be a lot of other issues and topics like noted on here. There's a fire service study presentation that will probably come sometime in January. And so the public's always welcome to attend. It's broadcast on cable channel 7. And also want to let you know that you can submit your budget ideas at budget.dmgov.org anytime you'd like. And I think with that, that's the end of the presentation. So from here on, which you're welcome to do, then again, different departments. I mentioned the names of a few: Public Works and Police and Fire on this side. On the wall there, you can see the maps of our community.
And the city went to significant expense, obviously, to have these big signs printed.
So feel free to move from table to table, ask questions that you'd like to ask, find out anything that you've been curious and wondering why the city does this or that. Share your ideas that you might have, and you're welcome to leave when you want, stay here longer. We can have a wrap up questions if that's what you'd like to do. So thank you.
I'm just going to shorten my stick up a bit. take a pill break. Sorry about that. I'm sticking you in my purse. I'm live streaming. I'm live streaming. You stream? I'm just going to put you down for a bit while I take some pills. No, I do it purely for.
What's that?
I do this all on my own. I also live stream protests and public lectures and things. I've streamed a couple of times in the city council.
Do we get much of a response?
Well, it depends on what I'm streaming. Like for instance, I had almost 50 viewers Monday at the courthouse for the police brutality protest.
Really?
Yeah. And sometimes I may only get 1 or 2 viewers, but the fact that it's being documented, and sometimes I'm the only one who's doing it. So I just saw about it this afternoon, but it was the bike collective said that this is going on, so I thought, okay, this is going to be about the bike safety and the fact that there is not going to be a person responsible specifically for bike and pedestrian safety in the city.
Right. Are you with a specific organization?
Well, I have, although we have not had any meetings for over 2 years, I was part of the Occupy Des Moines camp in Stewart Square.
Really?
Yeah, so I still call myself an occupier.
Okay. Excellent.
So if you ever went by Stewart Square, October 2011, and you saw those tents there, yeah, I was in on that. And we left the park better than we found it.
Gotcha, that's good.
I mean, we spent several hours the sander on the playset because there was all kinds of trash. Yeah, there was broken needles, syringes, broken glass from bottles, just all kinds of trash.
Interesting.
And the weird thing is, the day after we left the park, after we took everything out, a city employee was in there, and a drug deal went down, and that city employee saw it.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Kaylin.
Kaylin. Good to meet you, Kaylin. Timothy Bench.
And I also maintain the first aid tent in that park.
Okay.
Yeah, that campground.
Gotcha. So, but the Occupy movement's kind of no longer.
Well, we don't specifically have meetings, but that doesn't say we don't do anything.
Right.
There are
still folks out and about.
Yeah, we still do protests. So there are protests in the city.
Gotcha.
And I go live stream them.
I'll be keeping my eyes out for it.
Yeah, it's
good to meet you.
I'm just gonna get up and this is the little question thing that he had earlier about how many of each activity or amenity in this city. So that's how I just went just this side. And then this thing is just a little survey for after the end. So I'm just gonna go around and pick up conversations. These are the people from the fire department. And we have the public works, which is included. One piece of firewood doesn't make a good fire, Yeah, you got to have at least 2 or 3 in that fireplace or that fire pit.
I will keep that in my taking order. This is the everlast board. That's what's coming. And that's what's in those trees.
Oop, that's upside down. That won't work. I don't think my viewers can read upside down.
I read upside down myself.
I've done that, but the ash tree insect alert. I don't know what kind of trees we have surrounding my condo. Yeah, I live in the Delray Heights condos. Just so that makes me a barely East Sider.
You don't have to worry about it because the association will handle it.
Yeah. Hello. Hi, pretty good. Has the closure of Ray Drive made it a little more difficult for you guys to go get to some areas? Say, if I were to call you to come to the Delray Heights condos, would it add to the time that it would take to get from the station to the condo? Say, if I called you because of the Robert D. Ray street closure by the Botanical Center.
I didn't hear where you're going to.
Robert D. Ray Drive
Right.
was closed between the freeway bridge and the Botanical Center because of the construction that they expanded their grounds. And I live in the Delray Heights condos at the top of that hill.
Right.
So I'm just saying, would the response time be longer because of that closure?
Well, on the one side of the closure, yes, and on the other side, no. That occurs every time we work on a street.
Yeah.
It affects on
Yeah.
one side it does, and on the other side it doesn't.
So it just depends on which station you send the truck from.
But I think even when that was open, ordinarily
Yeah.
the fire trucks did not use Robert E. Ray Drive
Yeah.
very often.
Yeah, I've hardly seen. I used to see police cars going up and down there all the time.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And I used to get some major speed on my trike down that hill.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well, we used to send out our rigs based on what station they were leaving, and now with the technology, we do send whoever's closest.
Yeah.
And so that's made a big enough improvement that the construction projects that go on.
Oh yeah, and there's a lot of that.
They have less of an impact because we are sending who's closest and not.
Yeah, and
based
because some of the downtown streets are still closed because of what happened to the Yonkers building and the Equitable building.
Sure. Yes. Yep.
You know, and another consideration, I think it's not always the most direct route that's the quickest. Some of the fire trucks are pretty big.
Yeah.
So that specific area, if they were coming from the downtown
Yeah,
area,
Ray Drive, the top of that hill's pretty sharp turn.
yeah, they maybe use 2nd Avenue
Yeah.
or East 6.
Well, E6 kind of it just stops at University and then it ends at the there's an apartment complex that's next to the pedestrian bridge, so you really can't go much over there. You have to come off of University just to go on to E6 right there.
Right.
Yeah.
Or you have to come, say, from like around like Penn and go to that, Fremont or whatever.
You know your roads.
Well, a few, I know where I can get to.
Sure.
And I ride the bus a lot, so
Yeah.
I know what's on some of the bus routes. Some I don't ride a lot, but
I hope we're able to take care of.
Oh yeah, Well, as long as I'm still in the city.
Stay in the city. I'm going
Yeah.
to. You should too. I'm gonna get some water.
That was just a hypothetical thing. I was asking of the fire department just to because of a street closure. But I'm going to find someone to ask about the bike issue because that's specifically why I came here. I got a question for you. Are these things going to be available on the city website for people to look at?
As a matter of fact, who's this going to put up? We have
a separate website called budget.dm.gov.
Okay.
And if you go there, we'll have our presentations on there. You can see the PowerPoint again.
Yeah, because that would be helpful for those who are not able to attend but who want to see it.
Yeah, and we try to keep it up to date with all the budget workshops and all the information on what's coming ahead, as well as there's some place there we can see people post ideas or questions. That's there too.
Yeah, there's a click on "Give us your ideas" button. So
Oh, okay. Yeah, that would definitely help.
I'll pull it up here.
computer is connected to these screens. So all three screens are being lit up with this website that he's bringing up. I think he might be having a little trouble. Yeah, just click that off.
Yeah, sorry, it's always a little slow.
Yeah. Maybe if you tried, I use Firefox. Yeah.
So this is the city webpage, the budget page.
Okay, citizen.
And then you see the icon where it says give us your ideas down here?
Oh, yep. There it is. Give us your ideas.
Click that, and you should be able to submit ideas. And then if you scroll down to the page, we'll have PowerPoints and different presentations.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that would.
It's a pretty neat page, so check it out.
Yeah, I will.
Thanks for coming too.
Yep. This is the thing that named Forbes 2013 Best Place for Business and Careers, although I sometimes wonder about that because there's still a lot of people in the city who can't get jobs. This is a human rights group here. They're talking with someone. Hello. Having fun yet?
This is the Des Moines Municipal Housing Agency. We do public housing in Section 8.
Yep. I had it at one time, but then I got enough where I didn't have to do that, and then I bought a condo, but I'm still living in the condo, but I no longer can get a job because I lost my legal status, even though I was born in this country. But I'm still getting a government benefit, but I don't know how much longer that will last. What is the average wait time for a single person with a cat to get into a unit? Whether it be a house or...
Probably a year.
Okay,
That'd be
so...
my guess, but we are taking applications, so if you don't have an application, I would get one picked up.
Okay.
Or print one offline and get it turned in. Our Section 8 waiting list is closed, which is our voucher program where you can rent from a private landlord. And we have just under 1,900 families waiting to get assistance. So it'll probably be 2 or 3 years before we open that up again and take applications.
Yeah, and that's for families and not single?
Anyway.
Oh, okay.
Both. Yeah, both.
Yeah.
And all of our apartment complexes, we allow pets.
Yeah.
So, but I would look at...
Yeah, because I'm not leaving me behind. I've had it for 10 years.
I understand. I've got 2 dogs and a cat, so I couldn't put them out on the street.
Yeah.
So, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah. I'm live streaming this, by the way. This is administration, this general city offices. I've gone to the city hall to get street use permits when we had some protests for Occupy Des Moines. And I went to submit a map of the march route and what kind of activity we're doing, all that thing. So the administrative offices, they handle that sort of thing. Plus all the general running of the city. This is a Parks and Rec area over here. This just shows activities in some of the city parks. Helping Des Moines live well, play hard, and...
Can I answer any questions for you?
Yeah, I've heard some noise about a cut of a specific person who handles bicyclists and pedestrian safety in the city. How's that going to be handled?
I don't know.
For someone who would have issues with that, say if there's issues with drivers not respecting bike lanes when there are cyclists on the bike lanes, or someone riding their bike on a sidewalk but having to cross the street,
Right.
or just improvements in ordinances and things like that, or maybe changing bike lanes, adding or removing or whatever. Who's going to handle that? How's that going to be handled?
Well,
If there's not a person dedicated to do that.
Well, there isn't a person dedicated to do it now. There's not one person dedicated to handling it. It's kind of dispersed. Parks handle some, traffic and transportation handles some, so there's not like one dedicated person.
Yeah. I mean, it would make sense to consolidate all that, but if there's not going to be any money in the budget, who's going to do that? How is it going to be effective? And, I live near the bike trail that used to run along the river from the top of Robert D. Ray Drive where I met East 6th Street, down past the Botanical Center, and ended at the Grand Avenue River Bridge. And so I used to get some serious speed on my trike down that hill. I missed that. That was my shortcut to go across the river.
Okay.
And I want that back.
All right. Well,
But the Botanical Center grounds expansion is still going on, and then there's a fence across that what used to be Ray Drive. The street sign's still there. That has not been removed.
okay.
But there's still a fence over there, and that actually encroaches onto the Delray Heights condo property.
Okay.
They stuck that there as a means to keep people from going down that hill.
Oh, okay.
And that they ran that fence all the way to the river bridge where the university goes across the river. So I have to go the long way around there just to get to. Well, I've gone to the pedestrian bridge. That's another alternative. But I just like coasting down that dang hill,
Oh, I bet.
But it's a bear going up, so I just walk my trike up that. But So, who handles anything like that for at least people, in the city for pedestrians and cyclists? Who handles things like that now?
Well, again, it's kind of dispersed across a couple of departments. We handle trails and stuff, traffic and transportation. They work on the bike lanes, so it's kind of a little bit of both.
Yeah. So they would have to be the one I would chew their ear on about, because there's some streets where bike lane just only goes a few blocks and then cuts off. What is up with that? Make up our minds where we can ride, because some places there are no sidewalks, or the sidewalks are not really wide enough. My trike is that wide between the two back wheels. Some sidewalks are not wide enough to accommodate that, or there are no sidewalks at all. And I can't put that beast on a bus rack.
Right, it's a little big for that.
Yeah.
All right, well, thanks for coming.
Yep.
Thank you.
I'm Muslim. I don't shake hands with men. No offense.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So, I talked to have to find someone in the public works, traffic and transportation about that. So I'm going to sneak past this table and go over here. This is community development engineering. Big old map. I'm just showing my live stream viewers what you got going here. There's some big maps over here on the wall. I'm going to give a close-up of. These are, and some charts. This section is community development. I can raise my, I'm going to extend my monopod up so. This is one thing a monopod can help with the streamer shooting video. You can reach up without trying to overextend your arm and not getting a good view of what you want. So I can go all the way up here. Give you a good look at that up there, because that's higher than I can reach just with my hand. just an organizational flow chart. Some other graphs. Resident satisfaction survey. Ooh, yeah. By percentage of respondents who were very satisfied or satisfied excludes don't know. So if someone said don't know, they just drop those out. Quality of new development, quality of redevelopment, how well the city is planning growth, overall enforcement of city ordinances, enforcement of sign regulations. Yeah, I've seen some violations of that. Process for getting a permit, probably just any kind of permit, and just general things like that. Top community development priorities the next 2 years. This is from 2013. That could include this year as well. Got a couple of maps over here. It's just a geographical division, neighborhood division, block groups. This is just up here is another city map. Back it's kind of backing up to give a wider view of that one. This is just some of the city went to a pretty fair expense to put these things up. I'm sure they didn't do that just for this, but maybe they did. I don't know. This is just another map of the city. The Des Moines Important Satisfaction Assessment Matrix. Well, I have a few opinions, but I don't want to bore you with all that. Just another map of the city. Pretty big thing. Oh, shorten my stick up. The people at this table don't have an organizational name on it. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I try. I'll just pick this up this way. Community development. It's just more community development stuff. Hello, having fun yet?
Well, it's okay. Had worse.
Oh, yeah. At least you don't have to deal with a building settlement issue like one of the buildings in my condo complex.
The building what?
Settlement.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The Delray Heights condos were built on loose fill.
Oh.
And apparently someone did not either survey that land adequately enough, check out what was down below the surface. And we have had some serious settling. And in some parts, there was an angle that's about like that. And so we had to get a company to put some piers into the ground, into that loose fill, just to stop the back half of the building from sinking either further and breaking off.
Wow.
I mean, if we wouldn't have known about, if we wouldn't have discovered that, who knows, in just a few years, that building could fall down across Ray Drive and end up in the river. Yeah. And that was a huge expense. That was a budget buster. I came here because I saw a post on Facebook that the Bike Collective had posted something about, the no one being dedicated to handle cyclist and pedestrian safety in the city. There's no room in the budget for someone to handle all of that for the whole city instead of, dividing it up.
There's not a single position that does all of that. That's
Yeah, so it's split between two departments, and if there's not a lack of lack of communication, or attention to it, being able to focus solely on that, there could be a problem, and there have been problems.
Our departments work pretty closely together to look at those type of things. But there's not a dedicated source of funding and not a dedicated one staff member that's their entire job.
Yeah, and that was going to bother some people.
It competes with all the other needs that we have to try to meet, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of weird that I'm on my trike. I'm riding on Grand Avenue. There's a bike lane for a few blocks, or there's no bike lane for a few blocks. And then there's a bike lane that goes for a few blocks, and then it stops. And then there may not be another bike lane on Grand Avenue for who knows how many miles. I don't know. And the same on Locust, because that's generally where I ride, is in the downtown area. And of course, I lost my shortcut to the river when the Botanical Center closed off Ray Drive in between the top of the hill where it meets 6th Street and the Botanical Center. Because I used to take that. I do Food Not Bombs. And Food Not Bombs. I've taken a month hiatus, but then we'll pick back up again next year. And I ride my trike with my food and other things from East 6th Street down to where we set up, and then I ride it home again. Of course, when the weather gets really nasty, I don't ride, then I take the bus. But, that was my shortcut going down that hill. I missed that. This is a public library. They're set up here.
Did you have any questions about the library?
Well, the virtual library, that is something that maybe my viewers might want. What is that?
Oh, that's our website. And so what we're doing is we're just trying to turn it so that it's accessible for the databases and everything virtually 24/7.
Oh, cool. So you can look at materials and, instead of, say, checking out a reference thing that's like not a book but some other...
You can download it or you can just view it in a browser, yes.
Yeah, okay, that's handy.
Yeah.
And will it be available in different languages for those that
we are
may not
working on
speak
that.
English?
Yes.
Yeah, Spanish is my second language.
It is available in Spanish and we're working on the other ones.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
You enjoy your evening.
Well, that was the answer to the virtual library. Just coming back here. What can you get for $1.19? And it shows some things for $119. And it just shows. This is like a membership. And all these things down here represent locations. But that's too much for me. That's a luxury. I don't bother with luxuries. This is actually upside down. I'm going to turn this right. So this is the Park and Recreation's budget book. Here, I'll hold it up so I don't have the glare. But the Parks and Rec Department handles some of the bike trails, whereas Traffic and Transportation handles the city areas, bike lanes.
Thanks for coming out.
You're welcome. And things of that nature. And, of course, the police handle enforcement.
Man, me too.
Are you like
But I think that's going to do it. I didn't get to find out whether I really want it, but then I find out that some things are consolidated, some are not. Well, that's the way city finances work, but it's not a done deal. Looks like this room is clearing out, they're packing up, so I think I'm going to do the same thing. The lone cop is left. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. But before I do that, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank any channel that might have restreamed this potentially boring thing. Because sometimes meetings can be that way. They can be like that. But let me check the chat one more time. Yeah, mods, kick the trolls. Yeah, any mods, I hope you kick the trolls out because I don't want to bother with that. They don't troll the way I like to troll. And my way of trolling is better. So if I tried to add a few more mods to my channel, but for some reason Ustream wouldn't accept their names. I've seen the names on Ustream as a way, when I'm watching other streams. But any others who are viewing this who are streamers do get lots of mods in your channel so you can take care of the trash. But anyway, before I shut down, please check out my donation links below the video view window on the Ustream page. GoFundMe.com/OccupierKLN. That's KAYLYNN. Again, www.gofundme.com/OccupierKLN. Or PayPal at www.paypal.com. And in the send money to line, enter the email address strainSOP@AOL.com. Again, www.paypal.com. And in the send money to line, enter the email address strainSOP@AOL.com. That will help me cover the cost of my live streaming and broadcasting. And I am eating lots of data, but this time I'm going all Wi-Fi because the library Wi-Fi is really strong here. I was able to ping off of it without any trouble, and I didn't notice anyone commenting about the quality of my stream. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you.